Welcome to Lesson 217, Unit Rates. Today we're going to talk about how to find rates and then how to find the unit rate of a rate. So first we have to know what is a rate. A rate is a ratio that compares two quantities measured in different units. So typically when we talk about ratios and we compare things, the units are the same. When we talk about a rate, the units are different. So for example, we might have miles per hour or miles to hours, or eggs to batches. Whereas we have eggs as one of our units, batches as the other. Okay, so a rate is when you have two different units that you're comparing. And a unit rate is when the ratio for one unit of a given quantity, or is the ratio for one unit of a given quantity. So when you're going 40 miles per 1 hour, that's your unit rate. Yeah, I like to remember by thinking of the word unit starting with U, and the word uno, which is Spanish for one, starts with U. So that helps me remember that I need to get my denominator down to 1. All right, so a unit rate is a ratio where the denominator is 1 unit. In this case, we have golden delicious apples. They're 5 for $1. So we want to know how much for 1 apple. Okay, so typically we see the price per the number of items. So it's $1 per 5 apples. So since we need to get this down to 1, and we know the rule is what I do to one side, I do to the other, I know I need to divide this side by 5, and I need to divide this side by 5. Okay, so in this case, I get 20 cents for every 1 apple. Okay, so if I wanted to know what I would get for my dollar, then we would keep the dollar where it is. But typically when we're talking about price, we talk price per item. So price typically comes first or goes on top, and the number of items goes on bottom. All right, so when we find the unit rate, we write the rate as a fraction, and then we put the per whatever item as the denominator. So before we had the dollar amount per 5 apples. Then I know that I want to get down to a denominator of 1, so I'm going to have to do some simplifying. Okay, so what I want you to do here is I want you to take a minute, and I want you to try this one on your own if you're ready. If not, I can walk you through it. All right, so we are spending $4.80. Remember, the money typically goes on top per every 12 hot wings. And I'm just going to put HW for hot wings. I want to know what the price is for 1 hot wing. So I'm going to divide by 12. And what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Okay, so I'm finding the unit rate per hot wing. In this case, I know on the bottom I'm going to get 1 hot wing. And then we can set up our long division over here on the side. Okay, so 12 doesn't go into 4. But it does go into 48 4 times. 12 goes into 0 times. So I know that it is 40 cents. My unit rate is 40 cents per hot wing. All right, so we've been focusing just on finding the unit rate. And what I forgot to mention here is that this is the original rate. So this is what I pay for what I'm getting. So my $4.80 for the 12 hot wings that I'm getting. So we're going to figure out the rate. Oops, apologize. We are going to figure out the rate for these two purchases. I will do the socks with you, and then I want you to try the shirts on your own. So first, write the rate, then find the unit rate. So first we're going to find the rate. So I know typically socks are sold in pairs. So this isn't 1, 2, 3. They don't get marked individually. we have to count them in pairs. So this would be 1 pair, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my rate is I'm paying $6.50 per 5 pairs of socks. Okay. Another way to help you remember that when you're working with money that it should go on top, you usually think of how much you get paid per hour. That helps me remember, oh yeah, money should come first, and it should come first typically with everything that we work with. All right, so now this is my rate. Now I want to find the unit rate. So I want to know what I'm paying per pair. All right, so over here, I'm going to use my rate. So we always have to find a rate. But then I know that I'm going to have to do some simplifying. And I know that since this is 5 and I want to get it to 1, then I'm going to have to divide the top and the bottom by 5. I know 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we got our denominator to 1, which is good. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here, $6.50 divided by 5. 5 goes into 6 once, minus 5 is 1. Bring down the 5 is 15. 5 goes into 15 3 times. Bring up that decimal. Minus 15 is 0. Bring down the 0. So we always forget this part, to bring down that last 0. So 5 goes into 0 0 times because we need that last 0 to finish out our answer. So we are paying $1.30 per 1 pair of socks. That is our unit rate. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to find the rate for the shirts, and then I want you to find the unit rates for the shirt. And when you come back, we'll go over your answers. So here you should have found that you're paying $18.50 for 2 shirts. That's your rate. Simple enough. But now I want to know what the unit rate is. So what am I paying per shirt? So I know that I have to take my $18.50 and my 2 shirts and divide them both by 2. And I would have gotten $9.25 per every 1 shirt. Okay, and we can double check our answers here. So the sale price on the socks was $1.30 per 1 pair, and the sale price on the t-shirts was $9.25 per 1 shirt. Okay, so this is going to take some getting used to because the hardest part is remembering where to put your numbers. The division and everything we've been working on for quite some time. All right, so on your own, you are going to solve these next couple of problems. You are just going to find the unit rate of each of these 3. So again, you're always going to have to first find the rate, and then you're going to use that to find your unit rate. As always, if you have any questions, please be sure to post them on Edmodo so we can go over them in class.